Good afternoon, everybody. Today is the October 27, 2025 meeting of the Commission on Disability. My name is Brian Gallagher. I am the chairman of our commission. As far as I know, none of our members are going to be participating remotely. We're going to jump right over to number 4 because Eric Tobias, who wants to join our commission, is not here, so I'm going to give him a call, see if he'll join us via telephone. Brian Gallagher at the Westport Commission on Disability.
Thanks, Brian Gallagher. Please stay on the line.
Oh, to the
I
inside.
just filled
Yeah, I
some
understand.
stuff in.
Yeah.
It was,
Hi, is this Eric?
Yes, is this Brian?
Yes, it is.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. We are at our Commission on Disability meeting, and
Steve.
I told everybody that you have an interest in joining us, so I thought I'd give you a call and let you tell us why you think it would be a good idea for us to have you join our commission.
I'm in Westport a decent amount. I'm not there full-time, but I am a full-time wheelchair user. And think maybe if it's applicable, and it may not be, I can sort of help guide making things accessible for others and sort of things of that nature. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to help, and if that makes sense, then great, and if it doesn't, that's okay too.
Now, Eric, as I understand from our prior conversation, you currently reside in Boston, primarily because of your requirements for your health insurance, but your dad lives here, is that right?
No, it's actually not a requirement for health insurance. I live and work in Boston, and go to school in Boston. So my life is mainly centered here, but my parents, live part of the week in Westport, and, so I go visit them every other weekend there. Eventually, who knows when, but they would move there full time. But in the meantime, they're here part of the week as well, and then I visit Westport every other weekend.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us about what our commission does and what we hope to do in the future?
Yeah, if you could explain a little bit, that would be phenomenal.
Our commission has been here for several years now, and our big focus is about improving accessibility for residents of our town who are disabled. And we have raised money every year, primarily through parking ticket enforcement, when people park illegally in handicap spots. And then at the end of the year, we have some money that we try to donate to causes that would help disabled people and improve the accessibility for folks who are disabled. And,
Okay.
we try to work with other town organizations. We work with the highway department, we work with the recreation department. We try to work with the town administrator to try to improve accessibility wherever we can. And we've improved accessibility for people to the town beaches, We have purchased mobility mats that get placed at those beaches. We have purchased geogrids that would stabilize, that do stabilize the handicapped parking spaces at Beach Avenue. And we have donated money to the Recreation Department. The last year, the Recreation Department completely redid the town playground at the Town Hall Annex, and so we donated some money towards that endeavor. And as I said, we are always looking for ways to improve accessibility for people in town.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, and I firsthand appreciate some of the things you've done, because like Horseneck Beach is by far the most accessible beach that I've ever gone to, and I love the mats that go onto the sand, and yeah, so I appreciate it, and yeah, I mean, if I could join you, I would enjoy that, I think, and it could be helpful.
Is there anything else that we should know about you, Eric, that would be helpful?
So I'm in school, I'm a realtor, but I'm also trying to pivot towards the financial services industry, which my dad works in, and I think I'm sort of geared towards that these days. But yeah, you know, I like surrounding myself with good people, and you know, could look forward to this. So.
Brian, can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, Eric, one of our members, Martin Costa, would like to ask you a couple questions. Go ahead, Martin.
Hey, Eric, can you hear me?
Can't really hear.
He's coming closer to my phone so that you can hear him.
Hey, Eric, this is Martin. I'm the co-chairman here of the Disability Commission. I've got a spinal cord injury. I walk with two canes, but I use a wheelchair at night. I want to ask you, what is your disability and how mobile are you?
So I had a spinal cord injury in 2017, and I'm quadriplegic.
Okay.
C6 complete injury.
Yeah.
But I have, you know, decent use of my arms and wrists, but I don't have finger function. But I use a power chair to get around. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I'm asking is I'm trying to find how much work we can get out of you. To say it in a funny way. In other words, you're not gonna be able to get down here on Mondays once a month to meet in person. It would be easier for you to do it by phone, correct?
Yeah, Zoom, or do you do your meetings on Zoom or anything?
Not generally. You know, we usually hook people in by phone because the system here is just a pain in the ass to connect up. And we could do it if we had to, you know.
Okay.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, phone is fine.
I don't know how much this is going to help or hurt. You know, we'll discuss that. You know what I mean? Because it'd be a lot easier if we can get somebody in person here. But we'll discuss that part. Can I ask you this? Have you had any other experience on any other boards? Have you been on any other disability boards or any other kind of boards?
Yeah, I am on the board of Eastern Shields, Massachusetts.
Okay.
I'm also a part of the Spalding Rehabilitation Professional Council, and I'm also the Massachusetts ambassador to, it's called My XXY Homo Diversity Foundation that my second cousin has started. So I do have, you know, some experience with these things, but if, you know, it's something that you really have to be local, I totally get that too. So.
Well, here's my point. If it occurs that we wanted more localized, you mentioned that you eventually may be down here permanently, correct?
My parents will be. I won't be.
Oh, Okay, well anyways, we'll discuss it, that's not, you know, you being up in Boston is not necessarily, you know, a complete negative, but, it'd be a lot helpful if we had somebody a little bit local, because we're looking for, you know, a little more, work in the community, so to speak.
Absolutely, and I totally get that. Yeah.
Okay, cool, so we'll see if anybody else has any other questions. Thanks for answering those questions for me, Eric.
Of course, yeah.
Hi, Eric, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
This is Lisa Costa, who's going to ask you some questions. She'll be gentle, though, Eric.
Yeah, I'm real easy. So, how are you, Eric? My name is Lisa Feidelberg Costa, and I am recovering stroke patient. And usually by this time, I'm usually using canes, but I had a pretty easy day today, so I'm trying to furniture surf, as you will. So I'm sure you're familiar with that, just grabbing onto things. But needless to say, I'm very intrigued about you being on the Spalding board. I have had rehabilitation with that organization, which I think is a remarkable organization. I know, I believe that Martin also, you utilize Spalding as well?
I went to Spalding, but I wasn't on the board.
No, I'm just saying the
Yep.
facility itself.
Yep.
And the other thing too is, we have we're trying to do some subcommittee stuff too, you know what I mean? So, you know, we have some marketing things that we're discussing, so we're kind of like, helping Brian, our chairman, and our vice chair, kind of like, having a face and some marketing materials and all of that, that might, you know, might perk some interest as well, you know, on a subcommittee kind of thing too. So I didn't know if you would be open to something like that. And do you have the ability to create those types of, I don't want to say documents, but like a flyer, or like, what did you actually do for the board? We'll say for Spalding.
So I just want to I'm on the Spalding Professional Council. It's not the board.
Okay,
It's basically a group of, I'm 34, and it's basically a group of people around sort of my age that helps volunteer in certain things and helps facilitate things for Spalding. And we also get together. It's a fun thing. It's been less involved lately because the person who ran it is no longer there. But I have done some pretty cool things with them. And Spalding is has a big presence in the Boston Marathon. And I have volunteered sort of with their events through that council there as well. But in terms of like creating marketing stuff, I'm not the best at creating it, but I sort of, you know, have an idea of what I think could be sort of catchy
okay.
and helpful to get the word out there. So yeah, I don't know how helpful in terms of creating it would be, but I could help, you know, give some food for thought.
Sure. So basically the other position that you had is more for coping and socialization, if you will?
Like which one exactly?
The professional for Spalding, the
It's basically just helping Spalding out in various ways. Volunteering, basically.
awesome. Well, I thank you for your time. You wouldn't have to create anything, just so that you don't have, we have Rick, who is just one of
An
our
artist.
best IT guys that we know, and I kind of dabble a little bit in it. So I look forward to exploring what other challenge that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time. We're going to talk about it, your interest among ourselves, and I will get back to you.
Okay, great, and thank you all, and I look
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, yep, take care.
Bye. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks,
We're
Brian.
going to skip ahead because we have a guest speaker
Yes.
today. He's going to talk to us about beach management plan here in Westport.
Oh, we know these people.
Hi
Yeah,
again. We've seen you.
yes, we do.
You okay? Let's put that up there so these guys can see it. They haven't seen it.
All right, thank you.
I think you guys know what we're talking about, but I figured a
Yep.
visual aid doesn't hurt.
Yeah, so we've been talking to all the stakeholders in the beach areas, and with the town having the Moby mat, well, I guess it's the Land Conservation Trust having the Moby mats on their land, we'd like to talk to you about, like, is that a good location for you all, or would you prefer to have Moby mats somewhere else? You know, because if we're talking about changing how the town's changing the way it maintains those beaches, then maybe there's an opportunity to, you know, switch things up a little bit. So Justine is going to lead the discussion, but yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, Justine Rooney, coastal scientist / resiliency planner with the Woods Hole Group. I've met a few of you at our events, but just a little background, the town is creating a barrier beach management plan. The draft should be released any day now, really. And that goes, it's kind of a dual function document. It's a public document to allow the public to understand why certain beach activities take place. It's a really sensitive resource area, and so a lot of it has to be done under very specific state guidance. In some ways, it details practices that maybe people thought were a good idea that aren't the best. Like, should we place Christmas trees on our dunes? The answer is no. But it used to be school thought that you should place Christmas trees on the dunes. And that is one part. And then another part is kind of helping with the interdepartmental coordination. So identifying whose role it is to do a certain activity and creating guidance so that people understand exactly how that activity should be done. Especially in a lot of municipalities, in my experience, you'll have someone who maybe has a wealth of experience. They've got 20 years. And if they leave and they don't tell you exactly how that one little thing was done, that knowledge is lost. So it's kind of also helping to document where we're at. We did a lot of that process last year. We just got funded for another year with coastal zone management, which is really exciting. And part of that is, like Michael said, going to kind of all the corners in town and trying to get everyone's feedback and opinion. So, like, I would agree with Michael. One focus is definitely Beach Ave and talking about the Nubble and how that beach area currently functions. But I'd also love just any global feedback you have about thoughts about the town managed public beaches, especially along the western and eastern side of East Beach Road. And just if you have any goals or recommendations, one component of the plan is identifying recommendations that the town could do moving forward. This is a great place to be able to have in writing that, you know, there was this public process that informed a goal, and you can take that goal and kind of use it as a basis for grant applications. So although that sounds small, I think it's a great way if you guys have things that you're targeting or planning that you want to do in the future, we can include that in the beach management plan. So the Nubble is number one for me because it has been a hot topic, and I have been talked to sternly sometimes about the management of the Nubble, but the Nubble is a really interesting barrier beach. It's got that rock outcrop, and that eastern section of the beach, kind of the more sandy section. I'm just going to point on the map for you,
Yeah,
just so you
please.
just know what we're talking about. But
Where's the rock? The Nubble?
the Nubble.
Okay, got it?
So if you kind of look from the lawn to the Nubble rock, so like from where the lawn transfers from coastal dune, right? I kind of see Beach Ave as two sections. There's the section which is the barrier beach, which is it has coastal dune on either side of it. And then it has the section where there's dune fronting the beach, and then there's this lawn area, which the lawn, probably if you did a wetland delineation there, is actually a bordering vegetated wetland because it gets so wet. I'm sure some of you had seen it. I saw that you chuckled, but you can also see it in the aerials. If it forms a pond like that, it is its own research area.
So it was always a wetland.
Wetland.
Somebody just threw grass seed on there when
Probably.
you built, okay,
We see that a lot.
yeah.
I mean, that's part of what happens with these resource areas is they get manipulated, and that barrier section, the sandier section, is trying to roll over on itself, and it's trying to act like a barrier beach, which does move backward, and it wants to kind of oscillate on its position of where it is. And us as humans, we love to try to manage exactly what it does, but it's trying to roll over on itself. We recognize that it has 2 valuable parking spaces, which are designated as ADA parking. And we want to talk to you all about, you know, how is that working for you now, to Michael's point? Could we move those 2 parking spaces to a less vulnerable location in that area? So yeah, I kind of want to open the floor and hear from you guys. First of all, if you have any questions about the beach
First of
management.
all, we're talking about those 2 parking spaces right at the end of Atlantic Street, right there, not the ones that are down near the Nubble Rock
No,
itself.
great question. There are the 2 sets. That's why I kept the road in the map layout. There's the set at the end of that road, and then I'm specifically talking about the 2 at that rock outcrop at the Nubble.
Okay. Where we put down the geogrids.
Where you put down the geogrids is struggling.
Yes, they are.
And I think, you know, they're peeling up. There is a existing permit for those, so I think if that was something you wanted to hold in place, you could. But, I mean, when I walk the site, I imagine that for someone with mobility challenges, that might not be the best location to have Moby mats. So I kind of want to hear, like,
Speaking
thoughts.
personally, that was the only place that I personally could have the vehicle parked and then get to the beach. And because of the mobility mats, I was actually able to get onto the beach and sit at the beach and put my feet in the sand.
Yep.
The other end, it's not possible for me to get down to the water.
down at the rock, or at the,
At the Atlantic Avenue.
yeah, Atlantic Ave. Atlantic Ave, I can't imagine, that seems like it'd be a really challenging location.
I don't know who put those there.
I think
Those were years ago.
when I think about potentially relocating the parking, I think about, could we put parallel parking? So there is a path that's opened up a little bit in recent storms,
Yeah.
which is right here.
Yeah.
That path is on town property, and it's a very gentle slope. And so one of the things we've looked at and talked about is, could we put sand fencing on either side and add a Moby mat there?
Where would he park? Parallel park?
Parallel park, cut right, like, could we put parking spaces right near the opening? So you have the VIP parking right by the opening as close as possible with a gentle slope, with the idea of, like, is maintaining these 2 at the end the best location? And if it is the best location, I want to hear that so that we know.
Well, you'd have to do something, if you did parallel parking there, you'd have to put some sort of geogrids or something down there because you still have the sandy situation there, correct? If somebody's in a wheelchair and wants to get to that little entryway that you're talking about, you know what I'm saying? We still have to
think-
make it accessible from that parking spot.
Yeah, and I think we need to look into that. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I feel like the ground is much firmer on that section.
Okay.
When I walk, I feel like it's more compact, and then we have in the beach management plan that the highway department will continue to regrade that section of roadway. And it's an easier
Why
section.
can't that section be asphalted? I mean,
What
it
is the
was
story
years ago,
with
it was a
with the
street.
road? Because the road seems, it almost seems like it's not a public road when it actually is a public
It is a
road.
public road.
I understand that, but there are some adversities. Is that,
What do you mean?
in other words, utilizing this road?
One of the things that we do.
People don't realize that it's public.
Yeah,
It
one of
doesn't belong to anybody.
No, one of the things that we have in the beach management plan is a recommendation for increased signage and better signage at some of these locations. Not only like no dogs on the beach, because, you know, it's piping plover habitat, but also, you know, could we improve the signage so people understand this is a space for them, especially since the land at the end is the land trust and there's town-owned property there as well. And that's part of the beach management plan too, is just trying to draw attention. There are so few public beaches in Westport. We want to make sure people know what they have at their fingertips. And that's one of the goals of the outreach for this spring, or winter and spring, is to connect with more of northern Westport and kind of go into potentially holding events at public schools, or just making sure we're capturing the whole community, because I think we've captured those stakeholders right there, but I don't know that we've done enough yet to spread out and connect with the community.
The other problem with parking people on the side is to, when you go to leave, you've got to turn around there. That's gonna be very difficult, especially somebody who is handicapped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to do like a 5-point turn to get around and get out. At least down at the back here, it's wide enough that you can make a couple of turns and get out.
I did wonder if the road layout width, and I have a meeting scheduled with someone in my office to look at, the road width is able to be maintained to 18 feet. I wondered if the spaces were transitioned to be parallel spaces, if that would make it easier for people to pull in and pull out opposed to the parallel spaces.
What do you mean, I don't understand? If you could do what?
If you could angle the parking spaces.
Oh, angle them, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if that would help people pull in and out better.
Yeah.
But this is really just the early phases of,
understand.
could this site work differently? Could it be better?
What bothers you so much about being at the end? I kind of like the end myself. I agree that the geogrids need a little maintenance, but they do need maintenance, period. They're not really migrating up. What's happening is some of that sand is blowing away, so they need to be covered over a little bit, or, you know, maybe some of the, there was some material, like a cloth that was there, you can cut that away, that does migrate up to the top a little bit.
Yeah,
I've seen it before. I haven't been there recently. I don't know if you went there like a couple of weeks ago?
No.
Okay.
I think one of the challenges with that one barrier section is it's trying to retreat.
I agree with you on that.
And the sand is washing into the roadway, and I think it probably is I haven't talked to him, but I do think it's challenging for the highway department to continue to regrade that section. I also think there's a lot of challenges with people, since it's the only 2 ADA parking spaces, so many people are going down there and then they have nowhere to turn, so they're driving on the dunes or they're parking illegally along the sides, which is also parking on dunes.
Can I ask you this? I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Your plan for putting 2 spaces further up?
Not a plan, an idea.
Okay, your idea. Does your idea also include removing the 2 spaces that are down at the end?
I think I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on transitioning the 2 spaces.
Why?
Because we could add a Moby mat to the public opening.
Why can't we just add 2 more spaces?
Well, we could potentially add 2 more
My
spaces.
thought process is, there are some people that traveled with loved ones, if they want to have a coffee, watch the sunset. You know, it's a lot easier to park right at the end of Atlantic
And
Avenue.
you get a view
Yeah,
of the harbor down at the end.
correct.
Which is lovely in itself. And you talk about a gentle slope going up and up. There is no gentle
No.
slope that someone with a disability can easily navigate.
That's correct.
And down at the far end, there isn't a gentle slope. Sometimes there's a bit of a 4 or 5 inch hike you have to go up to get over. But that's easier to navigate if you're on crutches or with a walker than it is to try to go up a gentle slope. Because, as I said, there is nothing that's gentle about any slope if you've got a disability.
But to be fair, every year with a particular storm or whatever, we've got a challenge there because sand does come over on the movie mats. Remember this past Erin?
Yeah.
That wasn't even, a storm that hit us directly. Those movie mats were a mess down there, right?
And part of the problem is that with the shifting weather, sometimes there's no sand down there. I talked to Ross
Yeah.
earlier this year, and he said, Brian, there's not as much sand as there used to be. There's a lot of rock that's now exposed, because it's all rock down there. But then another storm comes in and there's sand again.
It's true.
So my input would be to keep trying to keep those spaces down at the end where they currently are, and having the mobility mats. And Ross has been very, very helpful to our committee, putting the mobility mats down because it would be easier for people to get to the beach. And once you get to the beach, it is a lovely beach down there. Most people don't know about it in town, and the people who own property down there didn't want the rest of the town to know about it. We had a huge fight a number of years ago to get that road opened up again.
Yeah.
So,
That's why we have such a passion about it. It took us so much blood, sweat, and tears to get those spaces done. I mean, people literally argued and ran out of the meetings. You probably were at some of those meetings.
Oh, yeah, and I'm not coming here telling you anything is happening. I want to talk about the
No.
vulnerability of the site and that I think the site, it's really challenging to continue maintaining it the way it is, and you could get a storm that blows out one of those dunes and completely changes the landscape there. Every storm, it is filling in the roadway, and there is the other user use issues down there. So that's why I would never say we should completely remove the accessible parking. I guess I'm just saying, and it doesn't have to be decided today, if your committee could look into is there any revisioning of the site? And I think there could be runway it was proposed at one point, if enough funds were raised, maybe you could add a boardwalk that runs down the eastern section of Beach Ave and continues to do some of the things you've been saying. But right now, there's a lack of funds. We're also dealing with trying to manage these resources in the most economically responsible way as well.
Yeah, one thing we set out to balance in doing this plan was to balance the natural forces, and it's relentless down there, as you all know.
Yeah.
But also with trying to maintain recreational opportunities for the town to the greatest extent possible. And obviously, there's going to be some conflict there.
Right.
And we're just, making sure we talk to different stakeholders to get their input on how these
In your
areas.
scientific experience, what you're saying is that eventually that Barry Beach will take itself over.
I'm not a
It's-
beach scientist.
It's already
so I'll leave
trying.
it.
It's trying. I can send over some pictures from Aaron, but it's really filling
I
in.
mean, we see it.
Yeah,
I
of
think we
course.
see it.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
I mean, at
and that's
one
all
point,
the
Brian,
beaches.
We couldn't even get the movie map between the giant rock and the grass. I remember Ross saying,
Well-
we don't want to touch the dune grass. You know what I mean? Because I thought maybe we could.
Right.
And when
No,
I mentioned the slope, I don't mean to insult that I know enough. I think I envisioned that it was a similar grade to what's existing at the Nubble section. I know that it could be better.
Yeah. I think from our point of view, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I would like to see more handicap accessibility down there than taking something away and moving it someplace else. I think that the two spots for Atlantic Avenue serves a purpose for people that want to take in the scenery and watch the sunset, sunrise, have a cup of coffee, eat ice cream, and they feel more comfortable with a loved one in their vehicle rather than trying to get out and try to walk, in the sand or get to the beach.
We're not proposing to touch the Atlantic spots at all.
No, I'm just saying. So I would like to see those stay there, and then
Yeah.
I would also like to see the ones, at the Nubble. I mean, Martin and I have gone down there a few times, and we actually got to see people that were enjoying the Moby mats and sitting right at the very end, watching the sunset, when I think we went to one of your meetings, which was amazing. But I also think that we need to encourage more people to participate and go down there and enjoy it, because it seems like it's a private beach when it's not. And my point is that we need to make more I love the idea of maybe making additional parking spaces, like you said, maybe angling it, or just adding more accessibility, which would be wonderful to see more people that struggle, to be able to have
One of the
access.
problems- Sorry, Lisa, one of the problems we have is it's a beautiful spot, but there aren't many beaches that someone with a disability can access. Trying to get up to Cherry and Webb Beach is impossible as it currently stands.
Right.
So we tried to make Beach Avenue more accessible, and we were able to do that. And we worked at the North Beach, the Baby Beach, to make that another accessible area, but put it down mobility mats. Because there just aren't that many opportunities for someone with a disability to get to the beach if that's what they want to do.
Maybe there's a world where we recommend that we kind of transition. So in my world, there's managed retreat, right? Which sounds like a bad thing because it's retreats, so we try to give it different names sometimes. But maybe there's a way where we pilot trying having more spaces at where the town opening is, adding Moby Mat there, which is maintained in part. Maybe we could talk to the land trust, or we see who would maintaining that, but have it in both locations as we examine the eastern section in some locations, we look at like, we'll maintain the status quo until X trigger point happens. And so maybe that's a way to look at this until, until it's really hard to maintain that eastern section and the regrading seems implausible anymore, then you already have that other parking area established. So you have two sections there, and maybe you find that, it doesn't work at all, and you're like, Justine, we need to continue to maintain the eastern section forever. Maybe there's a world where people like them better. It was just one creative idea.
I believe that that's the practical approach, for a couple of reasons, and listening to it. One is, I love that people still think it's a little bit private, mostly in town, just because it means that when you do know about it, it's a great beach.
It is.
I think the last couple of years have put a hurting on the beach in terms of erosion. So it's a couple of years ago, I mean, you felt like you arrived at this hidden gem. The neighborhood, I think, certainly would like to have it be more private than it is. What that results in is that the parking is really limited up to the grass area. Rightfully so, we don't want people parking down on the barrier beach. But what naturally happens is that everybody wants the fastest walk to the beach.
Yeah, of course.
So there's a natural temptation to shortcut across the dunes. So I think from a dune management standpoint, that's also a practical reason to put some Moby mats on a dedicated pathway across to really encourage foot traffic in one spot. And if you're going to do that anyway, from a dune management standpoint, to have adjacent parking spots for handicap is I think, a smart way to do it.
I agree.
To your point, the human behavior will dictate the preferable pathway. And what may come out of it is that, wow, that's halfway down, it's quick, and there's a Moby mat, and I can get right to where I am, and more people use that. And then nature takes its course with the barrier beach part, and it at some point, we're grateful that we were proactive in establishing a secondary access before Mother Nature makes it impossible.
Yeah.
So it's certainly something to consider as an addition for now, and then seeing how the storms, working with the highway department to maintain that access on the end as long as it is feasible to do so. But at least having the secondary access in case it's not.
Yeah.
You're probably going to revisit it many times over, because you have to pivot every time, you have concerns
Yeah.
or the footprint changes in any way.
I think we've heard from a lot of people. I think the Land Trust has also said it's really challenging to manage those Moby mats in that location. They just don't want to stay down, but they're happy to continue to support that, and they feel it's important too. And I think mostly the goal is to try to talk to each group on our own, so that there's no, well, they feel this way about X. But we got a lot of that at the start. So it's also, I want to hear directly from you.
Sure.
And I hear you, and I think it's great feedback that you're not necessarily ready to completely move it, but maybe we add a little more for now.
Right.
And that helps us explore what that looks like. And I do think part of that area does need more signage.
It does. I was just going to recommend that, and I'm glad that you brought that up. I
And
think.
more patrol.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Needs more presence. The other thing, too, is I know on behalf of the commission, with Brian's leadership, he's encouraged us, and Martin and I did visit all the beaches, and we, I don't want to say inspected, but we wanted to see, when the Moby mats went out, what conditions they were. Martin went down after the storms that we recently had, through the summer, to follow up on that, and we went over to the campsites and all of that. We were welcomed with open arms, and they gave us the tour and the whole 9 yards. So we want to take an active role moving forward, and that's what we're currently doing, with the commission now, that we're getting out more in visibility, and talking to people and trying to put a face with the commission, if you will.
I do think the residents down there, just to clarify what I have heard from them, is not that they want the whole of Beach Avenue closed. I think that's a misconception I've heard, is that the residents don't want anyone on Beach Avenue. That is not what I've heard. It's really that eastern section that they feel like the town is plowing through the resource area.
So I have a question, and it might be Pandora's box, but if it's a town road and we, why isn't it paved?
That's a good question, actually, that I don't know that.
Or it may be not paved, but gravel or something, because I can tell you this, when we went down with my truck, and I have a Tahoe, I mean, some of those divots, I mean, if you were going to try to get a car down there, you could actually injure your chassis of your vehicle. I mean, we were fortunate enough, I mean, he drives a truck, pickup truck, I drive an SUV, and I believe that it's challenging getting those vehicles down.
Yeah.
And I would like to see some type of, me personally, I mean, if it is a town road and we maintain it as a town, then my question is, why is it not surfaced?
My gut would be that I would think that it wouldn't be permittable in this resource area. So,
Why, if it's a legal road or a legal street?
because it does matter how pervious or impervious the material is. And so because it is a barrier beach resource, it's regulated differently than maybe more inland. So you can only do that, where the sandy part is, it's funny, because if I showed you a map of the barrier beach, the polygon really falls just over that area. Certain things can't be done in that resource area to try to preserve the resource area.
So what about packing the sand so it's more,
There is a permit to regrade, and I think they're doing the best they can. I mean, with so much square area to cover, they do regrade it, and they do fill in the potholes with material, and, I mean, I think they're trying.
And it's very particular.
Is it?
They have very particular material they can use, like
Yeah.
on the, when we put the geogrids in, they had specifics what we could put in there.
Yeah,
You can't just go in there and throw gravel in there and stuff like that. You have to put some sand in along with whatever bluestone, blah, blah, blah.
I have a question and suggestion
Yeah.
regarding that. How would seashells work?
seashells might be better. I can tell you in my experience, people don't love traversing on seashells. I think from a mobility perspective, we could explore it, but people normally do squawk at that, because then if they walk barefoot, it hurts their feet.
They're not great for wheelchairs.
Is that a material
Yeah,
that would
true.
be permittable too?
It might, because it's more natural, but I think it would be just as challenging to maintain.
I agree with that, because it
been-
will wash out.
Yeah.
Same thing with like even bluestone, that was my other thought, but I would think
Yeah.
it would wash out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question was going to be around, you mentioned the new cut-in and doing Moby mats there with potentially sand fencing along the side.
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity for just a more expansive use of sand fencing in general to try to hold back? Because it seems like that's part of it, it's a wide open washout. Whenever you get any kind of heavy storm, there's nothing there to catch it except maybe the guardrails that
No,
are there.
it's a great question. So we will be filing a notice of intent at the end of the planning process to permit activities on the beach. One of them will be sand fencing. So there will be a permit, and it will describe exactly how the sand fencing could be used at that location. And so I think a recommendation of the plan could be to put sand fencing there to try to trap some of that windblown sand as well. It's a great idea. Sand fencing's great. You have to be careful, again, in storms to make sure that it's not becoming marine debris. So that's just,
makes sense.
again, all of this is so fraught with, and I love that you guys are coming with ideas. Please continue, because all of these things are great questions and great thoughts. But I think we want to figure out a way to have it work well for you, but our plan does have to speak to maintaining the resource area in the most sustainable way.
I do like the idea of having a more formalized second entrance for kind of like a circuitous pedestrian or, walking, rolling route with the two Moby mats, because then maybe it could cut down on some of the people walking over the dunes.
Exactly.
It's damaging them.
It also, sorry to interrupt, but it'll take away from some of the abuse of being tempted to go all the way to the end and park illegally at the end.
Yeah.
Maybe you
too.
see it seems more obvious to you
Yeah.
Yeah,
with a sign
If you
saying
park
town
close-
beach.
exactly. With the visibility, it would likely kind of guide the people towards where
And
they're
also,
supposed to
the
go.
neighbors, I think, would be amenable to it, because right now, people are taking the fastest path across, some of which is private property, all through
Mm-hmm. Yep.
here.
Yes.
So, if there was a dedicated entrance that was clear, that also, in establishing that, could have a couple of parking spaces next to it. It seems like a practical
Yeah.
option.
And maybe the interim signage also lets people know that the only parking past this point is ADA parking.
Yeah.
To remind people that there isn't any public, I think it's hard to know, it's also hard to herd, I'm working on a beach parking lot project. I work on a lot of beach parking lots. In Barnstable, it's called Sandy Neck Beach.
Oh, I
It's
know it.
beautiful. We're moving the parking lot back 100 feet. I'm very proud of it. But there, we have this huge neon sign at the entrance, and everyone looks right past it and just keeps, it says lot closed.
Yeah.
Everyone looks past it, it just keeps driving.
That's for somebody
It's hard
else.
to herd people.
Clearly, you mean for somebody
Someone else, yeah.
But I live here. You're right, that's not what people
Yeah.
think.
Okay, so I feel like we have kind of an adjusted goal and recommendation here, and maybe we can talk internally about what a trigger point would look like to like completely abandon that section of road. Like how bad would it have to look that it doesn't make sense?
Right.
I think with the new parking spaces by the town lot, that we could also recommend, maybe we look into how hard packed that is and whether or not the
Geogrids?
because that might be something that we could include in the NOI filing, because it's cited, I'll have to look again if it cited really specifically that it was at the end of Beach Ave, or if it just said Beach Ave, in which case we might be able to repurpose it to that interim section. But again, I think we can take it back to the broader group. Just to take up a couple minutes of your time, I don't know how we're doing.
The other thing, too, is Martin and I have been looking for grant money, for access to Cherry and Webb Beach, working with the beach committee, and of course, now we also serve on the open space, too.
Oh,
So
excellent.
maybe there might be some funds that maybe we can apply for, being the commission, because we know that there are some grants that are out there that we might be able to apply and maybe help with accessibility.
Okay.
That would come from the state.
So you kind of led into my next question.
Okay.
We are looking to probably add Cherry and Webb to the
Yes.
beach management plan. That was some of the major feedback is residents were like, why is Cherry and Webb not in your beach management plan? We only did barrier beaches which front public roads, so that was why the three were selected.
Right.
Cherry and Webb, everything that we're doing in this beach management plan can be transferred to Cherry and Webb. I would love to hear any ideas or recommendations you all have in terms of more accessible parking, if you need any equipment at any of these beaches, if you have ideas.
Here we go.
We should.
How much time do you have?
Yeah, we should meet separately.
Maybe, you can also send me an email.
Okay.
I can give you my contact email. We're happy to take all of that. We also are happy, we continue to meet with broader stakeholder groups to continue to keep you on those listservs so that you can be a part of any of these conversations. I feel like your committee's voice is really important, especially at these recreational beaches. And even, I went down to the parking lot on the western end of East Beach. And I mean, that's a beautiful vista to drive out on, but that's not necessarily an opportunity for Moby mats,
No.
to your
Yeah.
point. So,
Exactly.
I'd love to hear other ideas and ways that we can incorporate it into
We're
the,
hoping to make a parking spot there, just a parking spot for a handicapped person to sit there and see the view, because we've seen
Absolutely.
some people go down there and
Yeah.
just get
It'd
out
be
of
the
their
perf-
cars and, struggle to just.
yeah.
We've talked about reworking the parking over there because
Okay.
people get stuck in the cobble
Right.
often.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the eastern
That does
section.
make sense.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh, okay.
the western.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
in the area,
Gooseberry Causeway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That parking lot seems like it would be a great vista to look out on.
Sure.
One of the recommendations in the Barrier Beach Management Plan is to reevaluate the eastern section, because to Michael's point, people are getting stuck in that cobble all day long, and trying to think about, do we need signage or recommend that people park landward of the road, kind of in that open parking space right there? But apparently that's also a high hazard area where you're pulling out onto a busy road and then you need to gun it to get out of cobble. That doesn't seem, but that's an example of some of the things that are in the recommendations, is exploring how these public parking areas are used. One thing I did throw out to the residents down at the Nubble as well is, how would they feel about parking along the road, along Atlantic right there? And they were like, it doesn't bother us. They said that they feel, this is their feeling, that the Beach Ave is never fully parked, or there's always an open space along Beach Ave, probably to your points of
True.
it's underutilized in some ways. So it doesn't seem like there's a heavy need for overflow parking there, but they were amenable to that as well, thinking about, if you were allowing the barrier beach to, kind of roll over on itself, are you gonna need more parking, or if we draw more attention, is it gonna need to expand?
I think adding the signage and the welcomeness of it, because like I said, I think sometimes people think that it's private to the people that live around that area, that it comes along as a private entity. It doesn't really scream,
yeah.
public access, right? Until you see the handicap spots, and if you're not handicapped, then you're not going to use them anyway. So, and some people do, right? And then they get caught, and shame on them, right? But I think that having the visibility would, I think, encourage other people to go down, especially Westporters. And I think, everyone should have access, whether you are challenged or not. But I just think that we, as a commission, should make it easier for people that are challenged, whether they want to sit in their vehicle, whether they want to sit at the end of Atlantic Ave or go down, to the Nubble. And then, of course, having that potential of having extra spots, I think would be wonderful.
Yeah.
To me, signage would go a long way there towards most people. If you put signage that indicates that it's a sensitive and protected barrier beach that, is.
Educate them.
And you can really talk up the history and the importance of the barrier beach and basically don't be destructive. Like, a lot of people are doing it out of.
People are gonna pay attention to that signage?
Well, I think two
Really?
things. One is that if you do that, 80% will, the 20% that are gonna cause trouble anyway, that are probably going there
Yeah,
with a
they
spray
would
can
anyway.
to put their name on the rock. They're not gonna pay attention to it. What would go a long way, that would be incredibly affordable and easy to do, you just have to run it by town council, a trail cam, just some notice that says, and it's under video surveillance.
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
That you could go back. It would,
Or a plexiglass kind of, reason, have something like this and maybe have the reasons why it's protected. I know I go down the Cape all the time, and they do have these informational, when the beach is open, when it's not, and then a history of why we are protecting it.
I'm
And
glad you're reading those, because I was
I
a
read
little
them.
down yesterday, because I'm doing a beach signage
do.
task, and I was like, is anyone even gonna look at
no,
this?
yeah. And I think people, who are mindful, will read them and want to know, you could write the history of it. It doesn't have to be a book. You
we've
can
got the
just,
Charlton Mansion right there, which is super interesting in terms
Yeah.
of how that came to be, and the houses that used to be there before the 38
Right.
hurricane.
Yeah, that's a great
There's
idea.
history,
Yeah.
there's open space can get involved, we can get involved. It can be a community thing.
Yeah, I love that.
And maybe it changes, 4 times a season, like
Why are
sometimes.
there foundations on the beach? Well, here's why, and here's what we're
Yeah.
trying to prevent from
Absolutely, I
happening.
agree with you, Rick.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah,
with you.
I think one thing that's interesting too about thinking about all of this is I know one of the user groups are fishermen who are using it, and maybe signage, or if the timing of the spaces is like you need a beach pass till X time, but you can park in these parking spaces after 6 PM, if it would signal to them to also stop driving down, like I can park right here, I'm able to. Because I think adding patrol is probably not a municipal capacity that we can add right now, but with these sort of things, yes, education is part of it, talking about it, signage, and then changing rules sometimes to think about, could we manage the area better?
And you can actually publicize what are the rules. These are the times that you're welcome to come to the beach, you know what I mean? And trash, I'm sure that people are concerned about, people just leaving things, on the road or on the beach. So, those are the types of things that, you can actually put in your information.
So you want a big glossy sign at the end. I'm hearing something different from you.
No.
You've got a whole nother project
No,
for me.
So when I was in Sandwich, I did a lot of work in the town of Sandwich, and they actually had, you can actually see one that's right where Lincoln Park, that road where you go down by the old Lincoln Park? They have a little sign, it's a little information booth, if you will, and it's got like it almost has like a little roof on it, and it's two-sided, and they put whatever information that they want people to learn about as they come around the corner where the old Lincoln Park used to be. And, you know, I don't think it might cost no more than $500 if I had to guess, and just put it in a stabilized position so that people can read it. And I think it can be mindful to the beach, you know, or a decorative piece, you know, that wouldn't be like an eyesore. I'm not asking for like a, you know, a Target sign or anything like that, or Walmart, but just something that's, I think people will approach it differently if it's used in an educational way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We have a few more things to get to this afternoon, but thank you both for coming in.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you
Can we
both.
get your email?
Yes, I'll write it down for you.
Thanks.
Sorry, I should have brought my card.
That's all right.
Yeah, and email me. any
I want
thoughts
to
you have.
discuss that Cherry Web thing with you, just get some ideas.
Okay.
Okay.
And Sandy Neck, once it's done, we'll have a beautiful new ADA accessible overlook.
Oh.
If ever anyone wants to
Yeah.
come take a visit,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I can come take you on a tour. I live in Barnstable, so
Oh,
Oh, wonderful.
when you said sandwich.
Yeah,
Do you want your pictures back before you
No, you
leave?
can have them.
oh, good.
yeah, we'd like to look at those. And
Martin.
can you keep us informed firsthand, so we don't, you know, this way we don't hear it secondhand?
Yes,
Keep us-
yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you.
To our listserv.
yeah, we're
I
just,
have your emails.
Yes, you do.
we're still really at the beginning of unveiling the draft. So this past year was kind of internal, and now we want to hear your thoughts.
What does this
We want
say?
to hear when we're wrong.
What does it say? At Woods Hole what, please?
Group, my jeans
Oh.
look like views.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay.
Thank
Got
you.
it.
We'll announce it on the town's website when the draft's available. So
Okay.
if you're subscribed to news updates on the town's website,
Okay.
you'll get noticed then. But I'll make sure to reach out to you all as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your
Thanks,
time.
great
Nice
meeting.
to see you.
Appreciate it.
For coming
Thank
in.
you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
We're a little short on time, but I'll try to cover as many things as I can.
Go, Brian, go.
Okay, we still need a replacement. Because we're supposed to have 7 and we'll have 5 right now. So keep thinking about who you.
Yeah,
think would be good.
we'll keep working on that.
Several months ago, we talked about the Westport Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
Yes, we did.
It is now reopened, so if people have projects for their homes that they want to look for some funding for, the Westport Affordable Housing Trust Fund is available.
Funny story about that, Mr. Chairman. I actually went to the, I recently had $50,000 worth of work done in my bathroom, which came out fantastic. It
did.
Because Brian brought that up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I look in the shorelines, and this program he's talking about comes up. And, oh my God, there's another $21,000 available for doing roofs. So I went, I talked to them, and I said, can I apply for this, even though I already applied for that other one? And he said, I don't see why not. So I'm gonna try to get my roof done. So I'll let you guys know about that as well.
All in the name of research.
Free money.
That's right.
Free money. Well, actually, it's all a lien on your house, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
as long as you don't sell your house,
Yeah.
they don't ask for it back. But once you die or you sell your house, hey, once I'm dead, whoever, you know, they can deal with that on their own, you know, they could give it back to the state. But anyway, it's a great program, great program. Okay, sorry, Brian.
If
Go
you want
ahead.
more information about it, the phone number is 774-264-5126. That's 774-264-5126. And there are websites, you can send an email at westporthousing@outlook.com. It's westporthousing@outlook.com. And there's also a very long webpage that is www.westport.ma.com. I'm sorry, westport/ma.com/affordable housing dash trust fund.
I'll see if I can find that and just do a quick link from the commissioner.
Yeah, would you please?
Yep.
I have the article from the paper that's got those sites as well. It was in the Shorelines just recently.
Great.
One of the other things that we're going to talk about are the donations from our commission to various sources in town. We only have about
That's all right, let's talk about that quickly.
12 minutes. So
I want to make a quick couple of suggestions. Number one, I spoke with the Recreation Department, Dana, quickly, and I suggested to her that, I asked her if she needed some of the funds like we offered to her 2 years ago, which is $5,000 to hire some extra help for some of the disabled children in town that were taking part in the recreation program. Sometimes the children have, you had some experience in this, did you not, with your?
Yeah, a lot of, so just for context, about
Go ahead.
20 to 25% of the students that go to Westport schools are in some sort of special education. Some percentage of those get assistance during their school day from a teacher's aide, sometimes in a group, sometimes it's one-on-one. Those students in the Westport schools often are, the parents and families aren't as comfortable sending them to a summer camp, because if they need assistance in school, it's fairly likely they're going to need assistance at camp. It could be with toileting, it could be because they're a flight risk, it could be because they just need some extra assistance.
Absolutely.
So summer camp is one of those childhood experiences that, unbeknownst to some, is just a hard reach for some families with kids that needed extra help. So, yeah, through our commission, we had supported the recreation. Dana's been a fantastic supporter.
Fantastic.
We can certainly do better getting the word out, but families that have children that want to attend Westport recreation programs, the recreation department has had some additional funding to go higher. So beyond the normal subset of camp counselors, an additional one or an aide or somebody that can then help some other kids navigate the summer camps. So that's what we had supported through recreation.
Thank you. And to add to that, I had a long talk with Dana about that. We also discussed the fact that it's, the day camps are a very small group. They're nice and intimate, and this would be very, very good for the kids. Also, we discussed the fact that, children have a lot of anxiety nowadays. They're the children who have individual problems, and this would be very helpful to them. So she said, yes, she'd be very happy to, take a donation if we could afford to do so, and I would like to put that forward. We gave them $5,000 2 years ago. I'd like to offer that again. There was also the suggestion of the Westport Food Pantry. As you probably all know in the news, SNAP is being, and federal food programs are being terminated November the 1st, and I talked with Cindy Smith, who is in charge of the Westport Food Pantry. She said they were giving out food today. They do that on Mondays, and they were up to 50 families that showed up, which is not quite double of what they have, but it's obviously an uptick, and it's going to be even more people. They gave out 150 bags of food, so yes, they could definitely use a donation, they said, so I'd like to offer them. As far as the Westport Council on Aging, I feel that we shouldn't give money to the Council on Aging. I'm going to tell you why. I think the Council on Aging has the Friends of the Council on Aging, which is a support group that raises lots of money for them. Unless they really had a dire need for money, I think we have better places where we could put the money, like SHARE, for example, or groups that really specifically work with the disabled. Now, I know they work with the elderly, and we should be putting some money toward that. But I hope you understand what I'm saying. I don't mean to be mean here. My mother uses the Council on Aging. I use the Council on Aging, but I feel like they have a lot of resources, and I'd rather see the money go elsewhere. Do you agree? Anybody agree or disagree?
I would just back up the fact that our funds are fairly limited. I believe that there are other organizations that also have funds that then they deploy. I think when we're looking at how we can best do the good for the community that we serve, whenever possible, it should be towards a specific purpose or a specific use or a specific need, not to a specific agency, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
building on what you said, Martin, if we're taking our funds and just moving it to another agency and giving them latitude to then use it how they see fit,
Yes.
it may or may not be serving the disabled community of Westport the way that our funds do when we do it directly. So I think if there's a particular project that they're working on or a specific use that they have, or like with the Recreation Department, if we were simply donating to the Recreation Department to choose to use those funds how they see fit, I don't know that that would be appropriate. But when we're donating to the Recreation Department for the purpose of,
How do you feel about the pantry, though?
well, it's, so I think.
I agree with you that it is kind of like a wide open donation.
Well, like, I think what his point is like you mentioned the camps. So if you wanted, or could we earmark the donation for the camps, for.
I know, but with the pantry, you can't say to them, we just
Oh,
want
no,
it to
no.
go to disabled folks who need food.
Yeah.
You can't really say
Yeah,
that.
no, I think I think for the pantry, though, I think in general, that's what they do. Is that not correct? Or maybe I'm wrong?
They, my understanding
for
is
need?
they don't ask. It's based
No, they
on a
don't ask.
self-reported need.
Right.
So you can just show up, and
Right.
anybody in,
So you don't know if in fact they are.
In need,
In need.
right.
yep, it's an honor system to
So-
support the community. yeah.
Well, I also think, too, it's not to say that we couldn't wait until after November 1st and see what maybe a church organization or
True.
someone in town might come to us and say, we know that that SNAP is being eliminated, the First Congregational Church is doing this, or this particular organization is doing that. And maybe there might be a grassroots thing that we're not even aware of in town that might just designate their efforts to supplying the supply and demand with regards to not having
Sure.
SNAP anymore. So we could just wait and see, if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The other just piece that I would add, especially related to recreation, and I believe Dana's done this before for us, but I do think that when we do have funds available and we're essentially issuing it as a grant to another organization for a particular project, then it's a fair request to have them make the request in writing.
And what are they going to use it for?
Yeah, and then based on that too, then we're able to go back to them and ask them for some sort of an impact report, which can be a super simple write-up, but just something that says.
To be fair, Dana said she would be more than happy to do that, and even show up. She can say, I can write something out, or I can, as a Dana, you did that in the past. If you could do a simple paragraph, we'd love that.
Yeah.
And if you guys wanted to come in, she
Now
can.
we're more active on the website, we can get those.
I understand.
Posted, and it also helps us ensure that just from a fiduciary standpoint, that the funds that are available through the commission.
What they're going for.
We
Goes to
deployed it
exactly.
here, and then we got this result.
Okay.
You know, it
Yeah.
just, I think, helps to be a responsible
And I,
kind of steward.
and to add
Yeah, I
what
agree with
Martin
that.
and Rick is saying, I think it's a good format for us to follow now in the future.
Absolutely.
Because there are going to be other things that we all want to help, right? But I think, I don't want to say an application process, but some type of guideline as to who's asking for, if you're going to be using it for education, if you're going to be using it
Absolutely.
for
Yeah,
camps,
you-
or if, because of SNAP, maybe they're going to start a different outreach program as a result, maybe through the food pantry that might need additional help, and it's going to go specifically for the people that have SNAP, and maybe they can show some type of verification card, to say, look, I do get SNAP from my mom, or I get SNAP from myself.
Might be a veterans group, you don't know. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, Sure.
So I think having an application, very simple process for us, just so that we would kind of know what they're going to be utilizing the money for.
Do we want to vote on the recreation department now, or do you want to wait, well, we want to wait till she sends something in?
I think we should come up with what we need, or what the questions that we would like asked.
Okay.
As to, like Rick might have some thoughts, because he's looking at it from a fiduciary responsibility. I don't know what our.
Well, she sent
fiduciary-
something in 2 years ago, so we can
Right.
just ask her to send something similar.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
anybody else,
Okay.
like, for instance, you mentioned the other organization,
Well, the pantry is one thing I
No,
mentioned.
Share.
the SHARE program.
Yeah.
Are they going to do a project?
Right,
Are
right.
they going to, what type of activities are they looking to
Right,
do?
right, to use the money for.
Exactly. So I think it's up to Brian, but I'd like to see what we come up with as a commission, and then put it as an invite, that we are looking to assist with projects that fit our criteria, if you will, and have them send us some documentation.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to give money to share, I want to make sure that the money that we're donating goes to help things for disabled
Exactly.
people. as
Absolutely.
opposed to just the general
Yeah, right.
community.
Like not a general fund, or,
Right.
and if they're going to hire a position, that we don't want those funds to be utilized in that way. I would
We
think.
should be able to put a pretty simple document
Yeah.
together on letterhead that we could even have on the website. We just refer people. I think the other, from having participated in a few other boards too, I think it's beneficial to take a little bit of the pressure off of commission members too, especially as we're looking to add members. If we're fortunate to have funds available and it becomes more aware that there are funds available, you don't want to be in the position where it's individually you feel like you've got to approve or reject. There should be some
Criteria.
framework and criteria,
Yeah.
and it gives us some structure that we can we can follow. And hopefully through that, what it does is give us now the confidence in that structure to open up the opportunity for others to apply, because now it's clear what we're looking for and the types of programs that we want to support.
And then I also think too, a follow-up would be good too. Once you do,
Yeah.
donate,
so.
like for instance, with anyone or any organization, it's always nice to see where did that money go?
Yeah.
Where did the $2,000?
We had a follow-up with Dana, for example. She came in and
Exactly.
visited us, you weren't here.
Right.
And gave us a rundown of what the money was used for, so it was good. Yeah, exactly,
awesome.
exactly. Should be a
That's
follow, should be a follow-up.
We will
Take a
do
look.
that.
Yeah.
And frankly, we don't yet know exactly how much money we have to give. Because the
It's
town-
true. We have to get the account balance first.
As of our last report, we had about close to 25,000, but with the beach season having come and gone, and the changeover of the town system, our accountant is having difficulty
program.
telling us exactly how much money we have. So hopefully by the next time we meet, we will have that information in hand. We don't have it now. The last thing I want to talk about before we move to the end is Martin put together this very lovely list of accomplishments
Yay.
for our commission. And as I said to Martin before we started, I didn't remember all the things that we did. And it was very good of him to put this together. And now we were talking about putting together a very brief article for the shorelines about our commission, what we are doing, what our goal is, and what we have done. And I thought it might be a good way for the author of the article to incorporate the things that we have done in the past. Doesn't have to be the whole list, but
No.
pick out certain things. Say, we want to improve accessibility for disabled residents of our town. And these are some of the things that we have done in the past, and we will continue our efforts going forward.
Will do. I'll take care of that.
Thank you, Martin.
All right, so
I can work on a form that we can, next time we meet, we can go over.
for
For like a
Donations?
Grant application form, donation.
yeah, that'd be great. You want to do that?
Yep, that's fine.
Very good.
All right, so we had talked about taking 2 months off, but do you think with everything going on, it's, a good idea? I mean, should we meet next month with the fact of whether we should be voting on Eric, whether he should come on or not, whether we should be voting on a budget, et cetera, or do you feel like you want to take 2 months off?
Well, I'd love to take 2 months. Let me just check my calendar.
I mean, it's up to everybody, but I don't mind meeting next month, but it's up to everybody how they feel. Except I can't meet on the Monday, what was it, the fourth Monday, remember I said this?
Yeah.
Could we meet the third Monday if we're
He's
gonna
having
meet next month?
surgery,
I have
eye
a,
surgery.
a what?
You're having eye surgery.
I think, yeah, I am having eye surgery, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Okay, so we can't meet in November on the fourth Monday, which would be the 24th,
right.
and the fourth Monday in December is the 22nd. So if we want to meet in November, it would be the 17th.
Yeah, is that possible?
The third night.
Is that possible, everybody?
Yep.
That would work, yeah.
Can we do that? And then we can come back and we should really discuss whether,
Well, we need to finish up a lot of what we didn't get to
exactly.
do
We didn't even
today.
get to talk about your brochure.
No, but I do have just a sample for everyone,
Just pass it out and.
I'm going to give everyone a copy. This is very informal, but I just kind of did, when you get to this page, there's really nothing there. But I was waiting for Martin's accomplishment story so that maybe we could actually put some of that in there. I just used some things as fillers because I thought it would be nice to have a brochure for us moving forward with general information.
Throwing it away, huh?
Yeah,
It was me.
running away from us.
You're
But
welcome.
I just thought based on what we had discussed in the past, just kind of putting something very simple. I did put the commissioners, we don't have to do that. Nothing is carved in stone here. I just kind of just threw stuff in there just so that you
Give
would
you an
kind
idea.
of get the gist of how it would present. And then it'll be a working progress. Most of the information that I did receive was actually right off your website, Rick. So I'm assuming that all of it is obviously correct and updated. But it was just something simple, and we can have more than one, but it's a working progress. So please, if you want to see something different, or you don't like the way it looks, or you would like a different format, by all means. Brian, the only contact person that I did put on the brochure was your email. I did not put your phone number.
Now
I
you put my phone number here, 1-2-3-4-5-6-7890.
Yes, I know. But I did put you as the 636-1000, which I believe is the town hall. And then the other thing too is putting a QR code would take us right to our page. And I'm going to probably need your help with that, Rick.
Super easy, no problem at all.
But this way, if we're doing River Day, or if we're out in the community, or we're going to put some of these at the library, once we get our resource, we have some resource
Material.
material that we're going to have located at the library. It's just a very simple informational brochure.
Well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you for putting that together, Lisa.
You're welcome. But I will need everyone's input as to the content.
Yep.
That'd be great.
And you didn't want to put at the bottom, prepared by Lisa?
No. That's why I only put your name on there.
So our next meeting will be November 17.
Do you think that'll be a problem? They'll have a room available?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we will.
We'll find someplace.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll go to your house.
Yeah, come on out, absolutely.
I don't,
I got a ramp there.
even if the select board meets in this room on that day, they don't meet at 4 o'clock.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're usually out by
All
then.
right, well, thank you.
Brian, just a reminder, do we need to approve of last month's minutes?
We do, but maybe we'll move that forward to
Okay.
next month.
All right.
Because we have,
I didn't know.
Would you like to save that,
I'm
yourself?
confused.
Save that picture?
Interest of
well,
time.
thank
think
you,
you should-
everybody.
Because we're-
I have a
we're
motion to
researching
adjourn.
things.
Martin?
What?
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, motion to adjourn.
Which means stop
I second it.
talking.
I second the motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is passed. We are adjourned. We will see you again in November.
Wait.